welcomes all. Thanks for stopping by, answering the call. Ups and downs are normal for some of us. Many days I bet to get off this life bus. Media lights flicker, no shadow on the wall. Dreams on the ceiling, we run and then we fall. Sharing stories over paper cups. Wheels keep turning but never enough. Life's a ride on a rickety old track, holding on tight, never looking back. In the rubber and modern room, we confide, laugh, cry, love in this crazy ride.
Welcome in, welcome in. Hi, Sheila. Welcome, Rubber Ramada Room. Tonight, it'll be a little wild tonight. Be here a little long. We're going to go over some Donna Adelson. She was 74 years old when she was arrested back November 13th in 2023. She is the mother of Charlie Adelson, who is convicted already of murder, first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation to commit murder. Those were the three things Charlie was convicted of, and they are looking to charge his mother with the same, or she has been indicted on the same charges. So I wanted to go over that and see how we got to where we are at, because, yeah. And justice for Dan Markel and Dan Markel's family. I know Dan Markel's mom did a lot of speaking out and stuff during Charlie Adelson's trial and stuff, and she was there, and it was a long trial, and it was one that I got me hooked on following the Charlie Adelson trial. And then when you see this is from his mother and how it trickles down the line. So anyways, let's get started here. Let's share the screen. Yeah, here we go. Okay. All right. Let me pop Doggo off for a minute there because he is blocking part of little tree to the side. Little tree to the side is you can see is we have here Sigfredo Garcia, Luis Rivera, Katie McBanawa, Charlie Adelson. Donna Adelson is the mom. Donna Adelson was brother. Charlie Adelson was a brother. Wendy and Dan Markel were the two that were married. And Gigi with Pretty Lies and Alibis goes through this really well. So I just wanted to use this portion of hers to kind of give an idea of who Dan Markel was first. And it gives you a rundown. And then we'll go into Donna Adelson. All right, here we go.
Really going to dive into the specifics and all the things we now know due to the other trials that have happened. There have been 3 trials. There was 1 guilty plea, 3 trials that all ended in guilty verdicts. Donna's next. So let's tell this backstory. Dan Markel, he was 41 years old and a law professor at FSU. He was found shot on July 18th of 2014. Just before 11 a.m. in his car. He was in his garage. The car was still running, and he had been talking to somebody on the phone. This is in Tallahassee, Florida. He was shot 2 times in the head, execution style. He passed 14 hours later on July 19th in the early morning hours at a hospital in Tallahassee, Florida. Well, who was Dan? Dan was born to Phil and Ruth Markel on October 9th, 1972 in Toronto, Canada. And Dan was very committed to his Jewish faith from a very, very early age. He really liked everything about the customs and the traditions. His religion was very much a central part of his life. Dan attended Cambridge and Harvard University, earned his law degree in 2001. After that, he worked as a law clerk to a federal judge and also was working in Washington, D.C. at a firm. He was practicing white-collar criminal defense. He was really thriving, on his way to a partnership and really starting to make a name for himself. He met Wendy Adelson, who was also in law school at the time they met, on a dating app called J-Date. That is an app specifically for people of Jewish faith. Wendy comes from a very wealthy family in South Florida. Her father, Harvey Adelson, owned a very successful dental practice, and her brother, Charlie Adelson, joined that practice after graduating college. Wendy's mother, Donna, also worked in the practice on the business end of things, patient relations. Wendy also has a second brother, Rob. He is a physician. At first, the relationship was long distance, with Dan being in D.C.
It's going to keep in mind about the brother Rob, because he's going to come into play later on in our stream tonight. He's an estranged brother, so keep that in mind.
See Wendy being in Miami, but they were able to form a very strong connection very quickly and would spend a lot of weekends together to bridge that gap between the two of them. Ultimately, Dan decided that he wanted to teach law. He was offered a job as a law professor at Florida State University in Tallahassee. The university also offered Wendy a teaching position on a contract basis. Dan and Wendy got engaged and they were married in February of 2006. Now, the wedding was beautiful and perfect, but there was one little thing that could be seen as a foreshadowing of the different priorities between Dan and Wendy and her family. Having a traditional Jewish wedding was a big priority for Dan. And while both set of parents contributed to the cost of the wedding, the Adelsons were in charge of hiring the caterers. Dan wanted the food to be kosher, keeping in line with Jewish tradition. When it was time for the reception, he found out that the food was anything but kosher, which showed that the Adelsons put their wishes above Dan's. After the wedding, the couple located to Tallahassee, Florida. It's a small college town, and that whole town revolves around Florida State University, kind of a sleepy town, very different from the very fast-paced and happening Miami, Florida, where Wendy was born and raised. And here comes the babies. They have 2 sons together within 2 years of each other, very close in age. And Dan, of course, was over the moon. He had planned to raise the boys in the Jewish faith as he had been his whole life. Also, at the same time, Dan was rising in the legal community. He was a renowned speaker, a scholar, and just a very respected legal professional who was in high demand. At the same time, Wendy was becoming increasingly unhappy. With Dan's travels to go to these different lectures and conferences, Wendy was oftentimes left home with the boys, and that wasn't necessarily what she wanted to do full-time with her life. She wanted to establish herself in her career. And she also was feeling like she was not seen as an equal by Dan in the marriage. Now, Writing Class Radio is a podcast that Wendy made after the murder of Dan, where she talks about how she thought she could cheat the system by marrying a man she did not have a passionate love for because, she says, didn't that die anyway during marriage? She said the marriage began to fizzle once the sons were born, and also the loneliness of being married to someone who didn't see her as an equal began to creep in. Wendy's also a writer, and she wrote a fictional novel that very much parallels their life with different town names and different character names, but you put them side by side, it's identical. The title was This Is Our Story. She complained of a lot of things in that book, such as moving to a town for her husband's career, complaining about the weather, how hot it was. But she also had praise for the residents of that community and how warm and open everybody was. Another part of the novel said, "We built love like a house of cards. No support, pulled away from our support systems. We just couldn't make it work for each other." This seems to be more of a Wendy problem. Dan was thriving, and we're going to get into the dynamics of the Adelson family and that failure to launch with both of these kids, where they very much still listened to their parents. Everything their parents suggested, it seemed. These adult children did whatever their parents wanted. In the podcast, Wendy complained about Dan not reading the novel that she wrote. That devastated Wendy, and I think in her mind probably validated those feelings of inadequacy or feeling like she was not an equal to her husband. She said on the podcast, quote, "He didn't like fiction, so why read my novel?" She did say she thinks that Dan loved her the best way he knew how, but the marriage was slowly unraveling, and Dan was away on a business trip in New York City in September of 2012. While he was there, he confided to a close friend that he thought the marriage with Wendy was coming undone, saying that she was uninterested and seemed depressed. Now, while Dan was on this trip, Wendy, on the other hand, was hard at work in Tallahassee. She was filing for divorce on September 10th, emptying their house and planning to take their sons to Miami.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Where her family lived. She moved money around in preparation for the split. She had clearly been thinking about this for a long time. While Dan was on that business trip in New York, Wendy informed Dan that she was leaving him. So Dan cuts his business trip short and comes back home to address the issue. But when Dan returned home, the house was largely empty and the divorce papers were on their bed. Add insult to injury, Wendy took Dan's uncle's diamond engagement ring, which was very special to him. Over the course of that next year, Dan focused on trying to get Wendy to reconcile, but he wasn't successful. Wendy made very clear to Dan the marriage was over and there was zero chance of them ever getting back together. Dan never could have imagined just how bad things would get between the two regarding their 2 sons. The divorce was very bitter, and it got more bitter as time went on. There was a huge custody battle over their sons, and on June 20th of 2013, Wendy filed a motion to relocate their sons to Miami. The goal was to be closer to her family. The divorce just reached a fever pitch. It got personal. It was vicious. Dan was panicked at the thought that he would not be a regular fixture in the lives of his boys. And at the same time, Wendy was throwing everything at him in court that she could. Ultimately, a judge sided with Dan and denied her motion to move the boys back to Miami. He also dismissed Wendy's request with prejudice, meaning Wendy could not readdress that issue in court. It was over. It was done. The decision was final, and it wasn't going to change. You think about it. She would have been tied to Tallahassee until those boys were at least 18 years old. At the time of the murders, they were 3 and 5. After the judge denied her request to relocate the boys, her mother, Donna, became very unhinged and almost obsessed with child custody. She and Wendy would exchange these very lengthy emails where Donna would call Dan derogatory names, telling Wendy to take control of her life. Donna did not want Dan to think he had won anything by Wendy losing the right to move back to Miami with the boys. Donna said they needed to hit Dan's weak points, which would be money, religion, and control. She reminds Wendy there are 5 weeks until a court date for them. Donna says that her life, her husband Harvey's life, which is also Wendy's father, And Charlie, which is Wendy's brother's life, will be affected based on how well Wendy can perform and act before July 31st. Her mom tells her, you can be a good actress when you want to. You need to put on the performance of your life. Dan hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. We helped you for the last 10 months. Now it's time to help yourself. Donna also suggested that Wendy threatened to convert the boys to Catholicism, which obviously would have been very devastating to Dan, as he was Jewish and he was raising the boys as he was raised. Donna wrote, quote, take control from him. He's going to want you to stop this, end quote. Other evidence showing Donna would do anything to hurt Dan included her suggesting they dress the boys up in Hitler costumes. The divorce ultimately was finalized on July 1st, 2013, and the judge gave split custody of the boys. Dan moved on. He began dating a woman and it was going very well. Friends noticed Dan seemed really happy again and encouraged him to leave the negativity of this bitter custody battle with the Adelsons behind and just enjoy being happy again. Wendy also began dating again, who oddly bore a little bit of a resemblance to Dan Markel. Well, if you think things got nasty before, buckle up. It's just getting started. It was no secret to Dan that his former mother-in-law, Donna, hated him. Dan would FaceTime the boys. And on one session, one of his sons told him that Grandma Donna called him stupid, that he was trying to take away her sunshines away from her, and also that she hated Dan. On May 15th of 2014, Dan had a hearing in family court where he was asking that
you don't ever talk bad about the other parent as a grandparent, no matter how bad. You don't talk bad about any parent. No.
Donna only be allowed supervised visitation with his sons. That hearing was continued, and unfortunately, Dan was killed before another hearing could be rescheduled. There was also another hearing that wasn't heard before Dan's murder, where Dan was accusing Wendy of not accurately disclosing her financial records. Wendy's family went so far as to suggest that the family offered Dan $1 million to allow Wendy to relocate to Miami, with the mother, Donna, contributing a third, Wendy contributing a third, and also Charlie, Wendy's brother, contributing a third of that $1 million. Moving forward to the day of the murder, July 18th, 2014, just after 11 a.m. Dan had dropped the boys off at school between 9 and 9:30, and then he went to the gym. He returned home, pulled into the garage, and was on the phone with a School of Arts and Sciences teacher about Wendy, who was looking to enroll their sons into this school without his knowledge. The teacher said that he and Dan spoke for several minutes, and when he heard him say, hold on a second, there's someone in my driveway that's unfamiliar to me. The man told police he heard a loud grunt, which did not sound good, muffled voices, and then labored breathing. He asked Dan if he was okay, but got no response. A neighbor heard the gunshot and right after looked towards Dan's house and saw a Prius peel away from the scene. The neighbor called 911. He was recounting what he saw and heard, and he said he was currently in the garage with Dan. He said the driver's side window is bashed in, the car is still running, and Dan has blood all over his head and also was unresponsive. Dan had been shot twice in the head at close range. In a very eerie photo, we see tempered glass all around, broken glasses that were on the face of Dan Markel as he was shot. EMS arrives, but not until much later due to a mix-up of the address. But Dan is still alive. He was transported to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. They notify Wendy, and at the time she was notified, she was having lunch with a friend. They asked her to come to the police station where they tell her there was a shooting at Dan's house. He was hit, and he is in the hospital, and he's not going to survive. Wendy says, oh my God. She begins crying, saying she doesn't understand, and asks what happened. She's questioned for hours. She has her phone taken. She's fingerprinted. She's photographed. She's also swabbed for gunshot residue. The officer informs Wendy she's not under arrest, and Wendy says, I understand why you think I'm the primary suspect. The investigator says, no, you're not the primary suspect. I have to work just as hard, whether you are or you're not. But over the course of the interview, Wendy is very open with the investigator about hers and Dan's struggles, saying that Dan caused her a lot of grief, but she would never do something like this. And she again says, so I understand why I would be the person you would think would do something. I want to figure out who this is. She tells the investigator that Dan was emotionally abusive to her, but she largely kept that to herself, and people's assumptions on the surface about the demise of their marriage was it just didn't work out. She said her family did witness how Dan treated her. Wendy told the investigator Dan would tell people in the community that Wendy was mentally ill because only a crazy person would leave him. When asked if she knew anyone who might have a beef with Dan, she hesitates, and then she says her ex-boyfriend at the time, Dan, hurt her. She said, I see why he's a good suspect. She said she had recently asked Jeff for space in the relationship and goes on to speculate if asking him for space maybe made him snap. At one point during the interview, she calls her mother, Donna, from the interview room and says, I need you to sit down. And she said, Danny's been shot. And something that I thought was very odd. She said that she was relieved to hear that her parents were surprised by the news. She said she was trying to think of who might be angry enough to do something like this. And she admits her parents were very angry with Danny, but not capable of something like this. She said she could not handle something like that right now. She goes on to say that her parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else because he hurt their daughter. But even her family, who felt she had been mistreated, would never do anything like this. Dan died early the next morning after his shooting, less than 24 hours later. And his parents, who still lived in Canada, were called and told of their son's death. His dad said he wished he could have been there to hold Dan's hand. Dan's funeral was held on July 24th in North York, Ontario. There were people there from all walks of life, including colleagues, friends, family. They just packed the church to say goodbye to Dan. And one person notably absent from that funeral was Dan's brother-in-law, Charlie Adelson. Overall, the murder shook Tallahassee. Fellow law professors were on edge, wondering if they were next. A colleague of Dan's said one day he was leaving his office and looked, and a Prius pulled right beside his car. And in that moment, he thought, am I next? There were no suspects, and speculation as to who would have done this ranged from a disgruntled student of Dan's, a serial killer, a road rage incident, and just a random shooting. There were no suspects, and evidence was pretty much non-existent. Investigators started to work the theory that the shooting seemed personal. Nothing was taken. It wasn't a robbery. Nobody went in the house. Nobody pulled anything out of his pockets. It was just an execution. 3 days before Dan's funeral on July 21st of 2014, they brought in Wendy's ex, Jeff Lacasse, for questioning, and he says he was madly in love with Wendy. He said nobody has spent more time with Wendy over the course of 6 months than he had. He said that Wendy has this charisma, and he's not the only man who's been under her thumb in that way. He said Wendy has this sexuality to her, and that it makes you want to throw yourself in front of a bus for her. He said that was a new thing for him, and he...
Okay, throw yourself in front of a bus for her. You go, Jeff Lacasse. That's a bit much. If she's got that kind of charisma, I think I'd be scared of her. Woo.
He was in love with her. The investigator asked if he had ever had any physical contact with Dan, and he said he had not. But he goes on to say that he's surprised they didn't call him sooner, because he admits he has said many times publicly that he would like to beat Dan up because Dan was making Wendy suffer. But he said he would never do anything like that at the end of the day. Ultimately, Jeff's alibi was solid. It checked out. He was out of town, staying at a Days Inn about 20 miles south of Atlanta, so he was cleared as a suspect. But Jeff would go on to give investigators that very first big clue that would lead them in the right direction, and even though it would take years to get there. Jeff was worried about revealing what he thought could have happened. He cited concerns for his safety, but ultimately, Jeff laid bare the things that he saw and heard in the time he was dating Wendy. He wants to stress to the investigator that he's scared. Dan was just murdered. He doesn't want to be next. He apologizes for being paranoid, but he says he has ideas about who may want to kill Dan Markel. Dan goes on to tell the investigator about Wendy's family and their desperation to have Wendy and the boys back in Miami close to them. In another interview on March 6, 2015, he said the family hated Danny in a way that is obsessive. And he said he's never seen anything like that before. He said the Adelsons' hobby was hating Danny. The Greenbergs, also friends of Danny's, are interviewed by investigators and tell a very similar story. Alex Greenberg says the Adelsons are just mean, and to do some of the things they did to Danny during the course of the divorce was just not reasonable. In the meantime, investigators are beginning to look at surveillance footage from before the murder of Dan, his activities that morning, and then looking through city cameras. And they start to piece some things together. Dan is seen leaving the gym through the door, and then just moments later, his car is seen leaving the parking lot in his black car. Trailing him is this light-colored Prius. The Prius is also seen in a video from a city bus's dash cam and also a side camera. This was at 10:55 a.m., just minutes before Dan was executed in his garage. Also seen on another bus camera just moments after the shots were heard, there's the Prius moving in the opposite direction of Dan's house. The car was also caught on various cameras around Tallahassee. Ultimately, Wendy left Tallahassee and lived in Miami.
Just another side note on that car. That car, when it made it back down to the impound lot, not the impound lot, but the lot. Stop barking. That's enough. Excuse my monster back here that thinks he has to be involved. I'm sorry. He doesn't know how to use this inside voice. Anyway, that's the cost I get for living with a pit bull. Mama, hush. Anyways, what I was saying is this car, when they got the car and started going through it, when they actually traced the car back to who it was rented by and all that, and they started going through the car, they had the boys that had rented the car, this Sigfredo and Luis, somebody had accidentally fired a gun in the car, and there was a bullet hole in the floorboard of the car when the police had went to pick up that car. So and it came from the story about them driving that car
with her parents for about a year. Fast forward to May of 2015, Wendy finds a 2-bedroom apartment in Miami Beach for her and the boys. She was a law clerk for a federal judge. On the outside, seemed to be doing very well. This is when Wendy took the creative writing class that we referenced earlier about that podcast. She talked very openly about her feelings about Dan on that podcast. And in one episode, she says, 10 months ago, someone killed the father of my children. First, we got divorced, and then he got murdered. She goes on to joke about what she should call Dan, saying, I don't know whether to call him my ex-late spouse or my late ex-spouse, except that late ex-spouse sounds like latex spouse. She said it feels sacrilegious these days to even suggest something less than heroic about my latex husband because he was murdered. The case seemingly went cold for 2 years, but in the background, investigators are working this Prius lead. They're also doing other things we will get into in other episodes. Their focus was finding out just who was inside this Prius. that was seen at various places where Dan was, and also in his driveway at the time of the murder. There were 2 occupants inside. None of the videos were able to get the license plate number or photos of the men until later. What's the one thing you can do? You release information to the public about the Prius asking for help. There were some key details on the Prius that were of interest, and it separated it from the mini Prius.
And that goes to show why sometimes internet sleuthing isn't so bad. Sometimes it's not so bad.
This is an area. They shared these distinctions publicly. The Prius color was a silver pine mica. So depending on the lighting, the Prius may look silver. In other lighting, it may look a shade of green. The passenger side mirror was black. The driver's side mirror was the same color as the car. That's how it should be. We know this black mirror on the passenger side at some point had been replaced. The car was missing a toe cap in the front. Also, it looked like there was a window pass for toll roads mounted on the center of the front window. Tallahassee doesn't have toll roads. This was beneficial to investigators because that led them to Mid and South Florida, where there are plenty of toll roads. They begin searching statewide for a Prius of the same color that has a toll pass. They finally get their break. The Prius had been rented from a mom and pop place in Miami that mostly only rented hybrid cars. They go question the owners, and the owners produce a rental agreement signed by Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia. That car was rented on July 15th. Once investigators begin to look deeper, they can't find any connection between Sigfredo and Dan. Now, Miami police were well aware of Luis Rivera. He was the first crown, or in other words, the leader of the North Miami Beach chapter of the Latin Kings gang. His street name was King Tato. On the other hand, Sigfredo was not gang affiliated, but he did have a lengthy criminal record. 22 prior arrests. The first arrest coming when he was 14 for vehicle theft. His street name was Tuto. Luis and Sigfredo had been friends since they were teenagers. And investigators got a search warrant for their phone records. And this is where they know they've got the right people. It showed the 7-hour trip Sigfredo and Luis took from South Florida all the way up from Tallahassee. That trip started on July 16th. On the day of the murder, Friday, July 18th, cell phone pings show Sigfredo and Luis going north on I-75 towards Tallahassee. Later that morning, cell phone data also shows Luis and Sigfredo just outside the gym where Dan was, which correlates with that surveillance camera footage of the Prius trailing Dan as he left. After the murder, the cell phone data shows their route back to Miami. They're seen on ATM surveillance. You can see their faces clearly, and they're driving that Prius. Sigfredo was arrested at a gas station in Hollandale Beach, which is just north of Miami, and that was on May 25th, 2016, for the murder of Dan Markel. He was also charged with possession of cocaine. On the other hand, Luis was already in custody on racketeering charges. We aren't even close to finished. On the next episode, we will dive deeper into the events before the murder. We will bring in wiretaps. We will bring in
Okay, so that's Gigi. All right. So, and just I brought this up. This is just a little thing. On 2020, they had this is from November 9th, 2023. There's an episode about the trial for Dan Markel. I think this is just a little short video. It's only a minute long.
In this case, say the wheels of justice turn slowly.
This is the preview for the Charlie Adelson
In this
episode.
case, almost 10 years.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Stephen Everett now presiding.
In many murder trials, there's the deceased and the defendant. But this one is unusual because this is a story about a family.
Please say and spell your name.
Wendy Adelson, W-E-N.
One that seemingly has everything: devotion, wealth, influence, and something else.
Back in 2014, the Adelson family had a big problem.
And that so-called problem leads this family here.
From the very outset, the state suspected the Adelsons, the family.
While the defendant's choices helped solve a problem within his family, they came at a very high price.
That price, prosecutors say, was murder. They say the wheels of justice.
So that's the promo for that. So let's go over here. So this is the Tallahassee Democrat. This is from today, or yesterday, actually. We are on a new day. I keep forgetting. We're past midnight, so we're a new day. So this is the Tallahassee Democrat. So she was appearing in court today, which was yesterday as of now, with hopes of being released on bond pending trial for her alleged role in the planned murder of Dan Markel. The 75-year-old's attorney, Josh Zellman and Jackie Fulford of Tallahassee, wrote in a motion filed earlier this month that Adelson has been physically abused and extorted at the Leon County Detention Facility, which resulted in her inability to receive a fair trial. Adelson's being held without bond on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. Defendants charged with first-degree murder typically are not allowed bond. Adelson's attorney will also be arguing this morning to throw potential key evidence, namely a jailhouse phone call with her son, Charlie Adelson, where she talked about possibly killing herself or fleeing overseas. We're going to watch the body cam video of her arrest when she did try to flee. Less than a week later, she was arrested on murder charges while trying to board a flight out of Miami with her husband, Harvey, on a one-way ticket to Vietnam. So, let's see. What was this video? Let's see what the short. Oh, no. Whew, no, that's the whole court scene. We're not going to watch that. We're going to watch this body cam video. This is body cam video of what they called the bump. They called this the bump. This was when your back works crazy. It's okay. Just have me in your ear. I'm just talking away. You can listen. But I'm glad you're here, Katia. Thank you. But anyway, so this is a short video of the bump, and you'll see, and they call it the bump. That was when they were trying to, basically the FBI and everybody was trying to set Donna up so they could, have more towards their arrest with her indictment. So let's watch this video real quick of the bump. You'll see on the left-hand side of your frame it'll be the video of the gentleman with the body cam, and he's walking and he walks up to her. On the right side of the frame, you will see Donna. They're like videoing her from like a surveillance van or something. This was at Charlie's. This was at Charlie's trial.
Black shorts. What is it?
Pause it for just a moment. All right, so on the left side of the screen, we've got two different things going on here. Can you explain what we're looking at?
Yes, on the left side is a body recorder that
we're going to go over the hearing.
And it has video and audio on it. So what you're hearing is audio coming from the undercover agent and his video. On the right side is a separate video taken from surveillance agents that were in the area watching.
All right, so the woman we're seeing on the stairs here, is that Donna Adelson?
It is, and she's exiting the Icon, which is on South Beach, her condominium. That's the stairs coming from her condominium toward the street.
All right, please proceed.
Okay, bye.
Big bus tours.
Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen. No, don't be scared. Listen, just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Luto for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times. We want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuzo. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
And she just puts it in her purse like, okay. She doesn't even look at it or nothing. She knew what he was talking about. that's basically all that video is. The next they show her, she walks straight into the school where her grandkids are going to school. She walks into the school and to pick up her grandkids, and she directly walks right back out and goes back into the hotel. Now, when she gets into the hotel, she makes a call to Charlie. They're still on the outside. Charlie has not been arrested yet. She makes a call to Charlie. And this is what gets the ball rolling for her indictment, because they knew she was involved. So let's watch her arrest video. Now, this is when she was arrested at the Miami airport with her one-way ticket to Vietnam. So we stick with our theme of body cam, but, you know, we're going to go with this instead tonight.
How are you? You have your ID? No, I didn't want to give it to you. Why do I have to give it to you? Why do I have to give it to you? This is evidence. Evidence. Do me a favor. She's under arrest. I have to go with you. I have to go. You don't have to go with me. I can help you out. No, I have to stay. Please don't do this. You need to grab the bags. Take the bags. Yeah. And you need to wait outside. Okay.
My husband's almost 80 years old. He can't
Yeah,
come
I
with
can't.
me?
Please, can I? No, you can't join me there. Oh, don't do this, please.
Please.
Oh.
Okay, I had a little problem with that because she says my husband's 80 years old, but yet he runs a dental practice, so she acts like he can't leave and take care of himself. That bothered me. So that kind of shows what kind of control freak she is. This is just my opinion. I mean, she's saying my husband's 80 years old, he can't go by himself, but I mean, like I said, he's running a dental practice, a successful dental practice. So yeah, see, got the control freak, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's just my opinion, but
Someone's got to help him get home. It's terrible.
Somebody's got to help him get home. Come on.
Is that okay with you? Please. Can you cut that if you can, please? Not going anywhere. Please. Please. Do you have anything in your pocket?
No. No.
Do you have anything of value in you?
No,
Unless you have a necklace on.
You can take it off. Yeah, take it off. Yeah.
And the earrings.
And the earrings, the rings, take everything. You give it to your husband. Because once you arrive at County Yale, they're gonna make you remove all that.
Can I call my attorney?
You can.
You have a passport already?
Where am I going?
Just hold the company finger.
Where am I going?
You're going to the Dade County Jail.
Dade County Yale. No, this is right here, the one on top.
I'm sorry, remove your earrings. No.
1 minute.
Yeah. Yeah, go back.
You take it right through here.
Yeah, let's go back out and just.
Take it right through there. Walk the shit.
It's too much. Can you get this off?
Can you take it off, please, Donna? I don't want to hurt her. Please.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
Please.
It's getting there. What's up, honey? Listen to me.
Yeah, I'll call.
Get in an Uber, go home.
I will.
Take
I
it
will.
easy.
I will.
All right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else?
See right there, still controlling. Okay, Sheila, calm down. Calm down, Sheila.
Her person insurance.
Oh, it's coming, sweetheart. I thought it's coming. Just a second.
Do you have her driver's license by any chance?
I'm sorry?
her driver.
It's in my
Yeah.
it's in my purse.
Yeah. How I need to give it. Do you need her passport, or can I give it to the hospital? The passport.
It's in the blue and white. It's in the blue and white.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get a driver's license.
Yep.
Yeah.
The license, the address on your license is correct?
Yes.
She needs all her. When she goes to the jail, they work together with the hospital.
They're all in here though.
Yes, they work. If I take them here, what will happen is when you go there, they toss them out. So when you go to there, you will meet the nurse and the doctor, and then they'll work in conjunction with the hospital to get you whatever you need.
Yeah, but I don't have a list with me. I know what
Yes.
I have a.
Is it multiple or is just one or two?
There's a bag of medication in here. Is that what you're asking me?
She can take medication. No, I know. I was just trying to find out if it was like one or two. Yeah, if it was one or two, then she maybe we can take the name down.
Do you need anything else from her?
Can I ask you something? Can someone just get my husband outside and
I'll get.
Unmute yourself, Sheila. Unmute yourself, Sheila. Mute because I got meat over here barking at the TV at Donna Adelson on my TV back here. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So stop barking. I muted it. Even here, right here, he's still trying to control getting him home. Somebody please walk him outside, blah, blah, blah. The man is a perfectly able man. Obviously, he's running a dental practice. I don't get it. And they can take a vacation. That's great. They make plenty of money doing that. Dental stuff, obviously. So whatever. Yeah. Oh, she just gets under my skin. Okay, stop, Sheila.
The gentleman here will assist them in any way.
I have the ring. Hold on.
Let me have the ring, please.
Okay.
All right, so I don't have the meds, honey. They're all in here.
Give me 1 moment, please. Hold on. 1 moment.
Here's her little walk of shame. I'm gonna mute it. Turn the volume down because they're playing that music in the background. I don't know how YouTube feels about all that. I already had a video strike, my little Sebastian Rogers. Yeah, sorry, Katya. I hate to make him kennel when I'm doing this, but I'm enjoying her walk of shame for Donna. But anyways, I'm going to continue to talk while we're doing this. This is a long little walk. Let's fast forward a little bit. But yeah, he's a big dog, and I don't want to make him kennel when I'm streaming, but sometimes I have to. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, he's my baby. Oh, thank you. Yeah, he's my baby. And he's not he still thinks he's a lap dog and stuff. So, oh joy, Donna. This is a long walk of shame for her. And I enjoy watching it. Yeah, still got that music thing playing back there. Okay, I think they're getting outside. Okay, they're outside. Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, we want to thank Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this body cam video. I mean, I think it's pretty clear from the bodycam/LC bodycam or by dialing pound.
Fit in. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
You want to take my spot? You want to move over? Okay,
okay, I'll do that. Huh? Yeah. No, it's okay. I'm gonna leave it like that. That means. Well, you can have that if you want, you. Let me leave the camera.
The address on the license is good.
Huh?
The address on the license.
That's a comment, okay? Before you.
You see that she's shaking her head no. That's all she's doing. She's just shaking her head no. She knows she's in so much trouble. This is great. I don't like all the silence, but this is great. I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit. Oh wait, this is where I think she gets her water. Hang on. No, absolutely, Katya. I want to share everybody. There's room enough on this internet for the world. Just to have fun. I enjoy it. Yes, I love her face with the water. Water. Oh, thank you, honey.
First, okay?
Thank you. Yes, the water. This is funny. Water.
Anything you have that may pinch me? I have nothing on. Okay. I still gotta ask. No, have nothing. I'm happy. Still gotta ask. 2007. County.
Yeah, it's 75.
On 14 kilos, second floor, door 17 at United.
1928 at 109, right?
Yes.
And then I took a 15 with 31.
Here we go. Pucker them lips. Oh, wait.
2035.
Well, the air condition doesn't go to the back because of the vent, because of the plastic. Can we open this a little bit then? Absolutely. That's fine.
It'll be freezing. Yeah.
That was so kind of that lady. You'll be freezing in jail. You'll be glad you had it. At least the cop was honest. She is like dead staring into that camera in front of her. Stop.
I'm gonna walk more.
Oh, more. A little more.
Thank you. Do you know how long we're gonna sit? Oh, how long we're going to sit here?
When he comes back, he's going to take you from here to the Warren School and then to the facility.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever information he took from you, I guess that's what he was missing, so he's going to enter that out.
Okay. So the next place is what, the warrant? What did you say? What did you say the next place was?
Well, see, what happened is the warrant that they have from you is from out of Leon County.
When did they issue a warrant?
So what happened is we have to take you to our warrant room for that information to get entered, and then after that gets entered, before we can take you to the jail.
Okay, because I didn't know there was a warrant. How would I know that?
Well, we wouldn't have been able to take you if there wasn't something in place.
So aren't they supposed to inform? Aren't they supposed to inform me if there was a warrant?
Well, I don't know the details.
I don't either.
They had a warrant. And the gentleman that you met earlier in the plainclothes.
Yes.
Right. They were supposed to inform you of whatever, and then because it's a county warrant, that's how we became involved.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm over here talking and my mic is muted. I said I have to compliment Donna Adelson because she has nice teeth. But that may come with her husband being a dentist, but she has very nice teeth. So she sits there for a long time. They get to the jail. She just walks in the jail. I don't think anything really happens from here. So there's that. That's the body cam video. That's her being charged with, what did I say? First-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. Okay. So this, let's see, no, this next tab. Let's see. So one of the things that they're concerned about is her son, because he does not, he doesn't quite go with the family. So she was in a rush to get to her new home.
Now, what's tipping the scales of justice, Mama Donna Adelson and her lawyers are asking for a change of venue because of her oldest son's deposition and the statements he made. And we talked Tuesday about that depo here on Opening Statements. Rob Adelson, he's actually a doctor, Dr. Rob Adelson, I should say, made comments that could be considered damaging, very damaging to his mother's case. And now his mom's attorneys say they have no ability to unring the bell. Like when asked if his mother was sharp or gullible, Rob answered that Donna is not someone who's gullible or who could pull the wool over their eyes very easily. Rob has been estranged from the rest of the family since the murder of Dan Markel. We don't even have a photo of him, you guys, because he's not been talked about. Many people didn't even know.
I kind of agree. I don't think you can unring that bell. Once you hear that, I mean, come on. Talking bad about his mama.
Oh, there was another sibling. Well, Donna's trial is set to begin in June. And so we're wondering, will the information from Rob's deposition about his opinion of his mother not being gullible be enough to get a change of venue? Or is the defense reaching here? Well, let's bring in two great criminal defense attorneys, Noah Pines and Casey Early. All right, Noah, what do you think? Is this a reach or is this legit?
Well, I read the motion, and it sounds like the clerk didn't do their job.
Right.
Didn't seal what was supposed to be sealed. This case already does have a lot of media attention. It's not the first trial or the second trial, right? Or even the third trial. I think it's at least the fourth trial.
We lost count, yeah.
Right. I mean, you had a trial, mistrial, another trial.
Right.
And so I get it.
Speed him up a little bit.
The defense attorney is being transparent. He's like, look, I was going to see how jury selection goes, but bring this up, and I need to bring it up now. So I think it's a valid motion based on what I read.
Appreciate it, Noah. I have something I want to show on the screen. This is from the hearing where Rob Adelson was deposed. And something said here that there's no person who places their own interest first or something like that, more so than Mama Donna Adelson. So this is another one of those pieces of the depo that the defense team is citing here. Casey, tell me, do you think that the whole jury pool is potentially tainted here in the Tallahassee area and that this needs to be moved to get her a fair trial?
I don't think so. And here's why, because I always think about the change of venue. Clearly, if it's not the proper jurisdiction, you file a proper motion. But in this case, a change of venue, in other words, it's somewhat outdated. Because before, when the Supreme Court entered their opinion, the concern was that the community would be so hostile that there would not be a fair and impartial jury. But now with internet, social media, it's all over. And sometimes you may be in a different county, but you may still.
Exactly. I was going to say that too. With the internet and everything, it doesn't matter where she's at. I mean, it's going to be known about. There's going to be somebody in the community that's heard about it. So, yeah, it doesn't matter where they move it to in Florida.
Still be a part or feel like you're a part of that community. I do not believe that, although the motion is valid, I don't think it's strong enough to change that venue, because the judge has to consider various factors, the cost, the inconvenience, and whether or not, even if you change that venue, will the defendant have a fair and impartial jury. So I do not believe that the change of venue would be appropriate 100%. In this instance, simply because it's not strong enough to bypass it.
Great points from you both, Casey and Noah. Thank you. I want to play a clip for you too. This is one of Mama Donna's jail calls, and she references all three of her kids. So you hear her talk about Rob. Listen to this call, and then I want to get both of your reactions on the other side.
I have one son that I don't speak with. I have one son who's close to being dead. And my daughter, whom I love, is doing this. I don't get it. I don't get it. I said to her, I swear to God, our family was cursed. Absolutely cursed. And I don't know how to speak about it anymore. So.
All right, is the Adelson family cursed, or as my brother likes to say, does this family's problems bear their own fingerprints? You always say a lot of people's problems bear their own fingerprints. Noah, what'd you think listening to that?
Where's Dr. Sue? Bring her
Yeah,
back.
Dr. Sue Kornblum. I know she's seeing a client right now. We got to call her.
I'm no professional, but you could see that Donna, is that typical mom who probably creates every single problem and then says, why does this happen to me? And I think that's been pretty evident through everything I've watched on this case.
Right. Casey, what did you think listening to Mama Donna?
I don't think she's cursed. I think she's reaping the harvest from the seeds that she's sown, being in control, having that dominant position. And now she's playing victim. And this is definitely not a curse, because your hands are not clean. And I can't feel sorry, even based on trial number 1, 2, and 3. I just don't have sympathy, because it's obvious that she had involvement.
Casey, thank you. I think so many courties share those sentiments. Thank you for saying that. I know many people are feeling it. It's really hard to feel sorry for Donna Adelson. I mean, especially because throughout all these trials, as you noted, I'd have to really go back and think how many we've seen. Her name always was coming up. And so now it's like, we've arrived. We're finally at the trial. Okay, so quick predictions. We have just about 30 seconds left. Do you think the judge will grant the motion, Noah?
not immediately. I think that they'll go through jury selection and then reconsider it during.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. All right. Casey, I think I know where you're going to go, but official prediction on our opening statements record here.
Motion denied, not sufficient.
Casey Early, Noah Pines, always a one.
All right, so that's interesting. So, okay, so this is today. This is 9 minutes long. This is I have two segments. I'm not gonna be able to do the whole sit down stream of today, but I do have two segments, and one of them is talking about them, going over the jail call, and then one of them is the other thing about her being abused in jail. So we don't condone abuse no matter what it is, but yeah, we're going to go over that. So I'm going to let it play for a minute. I got to find my dog.
Witness stand. Okay. Please raise your right hand as best as you can. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? Yes. You may take the seat. Please speak loudly and clearly. You may examine Mr. Zellman when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a moment. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record and make sure you speak into the microphone?
Yes, Donna Adelson.
Now, I want to direct your attention, we heard the call earlier.
I haven't watched this.
The call on November 7th.
Yeah, I know, right?
2023 at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And for the record, that was call number 561. Do you remember where you worked?
Yes, I was in my apartment in my living room.
Do you remember who was present when you got the call?
Yes, my husband, Harvey, and friends of mine, my attorney, Susan Brotman, and her husband, Richard Chapman.
You said your attorney. What kind of law does Ms. Brotman practice? Or did she?
She does estate planning.
Was Ms. Brotman present at your apartment for the purposes of providing you with legal counsel?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And you remember receiving the call from Charlie?
Yes, of course.
And where was Charlie at the time?
So he was in a room by himself. It was after the conviction.
Was he in jail?
He was in jail.
Okay. What did you do when you saw that Charlie was calling?
Answered the phone.
And you heard the recording that we played earlier?
Yes.
And you agreed for your call with your son to be recorded, correct?
Yes.
They're trying to get this thrown out.
As the call was happening, do you know at what point Charlie was no longer on the call?
No, only when because I was talking, and then all of a sudden I asked him something, and I said, "Charlie, do you hear me, Charlie?" And I said it a few times, and he didn't respond anymore. I knew the call was over.
Now, in the course.
And so just for a basic background on that, just for the people that aren't up to speed with the Donna Adelson, with the Charlie Adelson trial and all that, after he was convicted, there was a phone call. During the phone call, the audio got crackly or whatever, and Charlie disappeared. And instead of disconnecting the phone, Miss Smart Mama Donna here did not hang up her phone, and the phone continued to record their conversation. And in that conversation was some damning evidence that was towards her, being, you know what? Let's pause for a minute. I might have that right here. Hold up. Just 1 second. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second.
Do I want to go to sleep and not see my son? I do. Perfectly honest, I do. And what are we doing it? We're going to do it together. Leave a note. They'll know when to come and get us. And we'll do it together.
561. Do you remember where you worked?
Yes.
Wait. That's not the one I want. That's not the one I want. Hang on. Okay, here it is. I found it. I knew it'd take me just a minute, but I found it. All right. I think it goes to
Your
about right here.
ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
They call me like this. Like, it's not. That's Love you too, Charlie. Take some deep breaths.
This isn't it. Hold up. This isn't it. I can't find it. I'm sorry. Okay, go out to the shop floor. We're just gonna keep going with this because I can't find it.
Incarcerated in Leon County Jail. Did that happen more than, was that a frequent occurrence?
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot, unfortunately.
Okay. And would there be times when you didn't realize at first that he was no longer on call?
Yes.
Where in your apartment were you when this happened?
So I was in my living room.
And you heard your voice on that first call number 562, when you repeated, Charlie, are you there?
Right.
Did you believe the call had ended?
Yes.
And in times prior to this, what would happen after that? What would you do when that would happen?
If he didn't respond anymore, that was it. The call was over.
And what would you do with your phone?
I'd hang up.
Now, same thing with the call on November 8th of 2023, the one at 6:38 in the morning. Do you know at what point your son was no longer on the phone?
I don't.
Okay. I found it. I found it. Hey, Bella. Hey, love. How you doing? I found it. Okay. So we're going to go back over here. So this is today where she was sitting in court. Okay, Katya, this was actually, I know you're, I know, she's probably not here, but we were talking about the phone call. So this was today during court when she was actually listening to the call. I know you, okay, but we'll see. So this is the call, but I fast forwarded towards the end because you can't really make out what they're saying. It's so hard to understand. I don't want to listen to that crackly stuff again. But this is where she continues on and she keeps talking after Charlie's no longer there.
Before I picked up the phone, but there's a lot of things that we have to do, and we've got a very tight time frame. So one of them involves taking care of some things for Roman, taking care of some things through Steinberg, who's just been on the phone all day, and Susan was nice enough when I told her. She's going to gather everything up and I'm going to drive down. So she and Rick got here about 10 minutes before you called, so that she could work with us. We've got a couple of hours of stuff to take care of for Roman. So, working on that, and tomorrow, but I think you're going to be okay. You're going to get out of that stupid room. Once you do, you'll start to feel a little bit better. I know that. And when I have something that I do need to tell you, I'll speak again. Okay? So, and then I'll let you know what time to call him. Can you hear me, Joy?
Here's where she goes into the, can you hear me?
Let's get a new one. At that point, according to recording, Mrs. Adelson realizes that Charlie is no longer on the phone. Correct?
That's what it appears.
Okay. Now, referring back to defense one, that was call 562. At 15:07 or 3:07 and 7 seconds, does Charlie Adelson attempt to call his mother back and call number 561?
He does.
And then at 15:08, 3:08 and 51 seconds, does Charlie Adelson attempt to call his mom again and call number 560?
He does.
And then at 15:13 or 3:13 and 25 seconds, does Charlie Adelson attempt to call his mother a fourth time and call number 559?
He does.
And then at 15:13, 3:13 and 51 seconds, does Charlie Adelson attempt to call his mother a fifth time and call number 558?
He does.
And then again, at 15:22 or 3:22 and 33 seconds, does Charlie Adelson attempt for us to call his mother back and call number 557?
He does.
Were calls number 557, 558, 559, 560, or 561 successful?
They were not.
And why is that?
I do not know.
Is that because his PIN was already in use?
Don't know the answer.
But does that indicate to you that Charlie Adelson had been disconnected by 15:07 and 7 seconds or 3:07 and 7 seconds?
Yes.
Now, call number 547. According to defense one, that call was made at 6:38 in the morning.
Yes, it is.
Then you indicated earlier in your testimony that you listened to that call recently.
I skimmed through the initial 60 plus minutes to the portion where we had a situation as the call we just listened to.
So, Your Honor, I'd like to introduce Defense Exhibit 3 and publish. And I'm only going to publish very briefly.
Any objection from the state?
Yes, sir.
Defense 3 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hello, this is prepaid collect call from an incarcerated individual at the Leon County Jail. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To accept charges and consent to this recorded call, press 1. To thank you for using.
Again, in Defense 3, did we just hear that recording saying that it was going to be a recorded call?
Yes.
Ooh, did you see that little itty bitty nod? I wish I knew how to rewind. Okay, wait. I don't know how to rewind. I rewind, I go too far.
I'm going to fast forward and I'll start this at 57 minutes and 13 seconds.
She gonna get emotional here? Okay, maybe she's getting emotional because she knows this is where she oh, that might be why she's getting a little emotional here. See that little lip quivering?
So at that point in time, approximately 58 minutes, a little bit past that, do we hear Donna realize that Charlie's no longer on call?
Appears, yes.
What we're listening to now, Detective Investigator Nolan, is approximately an hour, 2 minutes, and 50 seconds is when that portion of the recording started. At this point, we're at 55 seconds.
I don't know that one. So they need to tell Dad to tell call Daddy, or they're going to hear me tell it. They might well do this.
Welcome back, Kathy.
What's
Yeah.
the option? Or they could ignore. No. On top of the business and probably supposed to run that and call.
I think I got the wrong timestamp there. Just give me a moment.
I'll figure it out. So I'm going to call. They got somebody for that, you know. So, I call them, try to call them and get off. So, yeah. So the things that we wanted to him, we'll talk about in more detail later. So our police person needs to come here, but I realize that, you know, most of everything we can do, I'll have to tell them. We're in the country. They're not recording my phone. They are.
She just said, we don't have to tell them we're leaving the country. If they're recording my phone, wait, let's back that up just a second.
They're not recording my phone. They are.
They're not recording my phone. That's what you just said on the record, correct?
Followed by something if they are something.
Now, as with the calls on November 7th, after disconnected at about 58 minutes into that call, did he attempt to call back?
Donna. All right, let's back this up just a little bit. I have to see where that at, Abellis. I don't know. I love this judge during the Charlie Adelson trial. I loved this judge. Thanks, fellas. Okay, and I know I'm interrupting, but fair warning, Meat's back awake, and he's standing over here next to me wanting pats. So if he barks, this is my bark warning. Okay, my little barking boy in the background.
Evidently.
Okay. And have you?
Yes.
Girl, I wasn't even
And what
sharing the
would-
right tab. I'm over here
in times
listening to
prior
it, not
to
even sharing the
this,
right
what
tab.
would
with you.
happen after that? What would you do?
So we're going back to the phone call.
If he didn't respond anymore, that was it. The call was over.
This was today.
What would you do with your phone?
I'd hang up.
Now, same thing with the call. On November 8th of 2023, the one at 6:38 in the morning. Do you know at what point your son was no longer on the phone?
I don't. I don't remember
In either one of those situations, or in both of those situations, did you believe the call was over?
Yeah, the call was over. He was gone.
And you went about your business?
Yes.
Now, with respect to the November 7th, 2023 phone call when your attorney, her husband, and your husband were present at your apartment, did you agree for your attorney-client conversation to be recorded?
No,
Did you agree for your conversation with your husband to be recorded?
no, of course not.
Now, the following day,
See, they're trying to get these
did you
phone
agree
calls thrown
for
out,
your
and
subsequent
that
conversation with your husband?
I don't think it's going to happen because that's a big point in her case, showing that she was fleeing. It was a big deal because she kept talking, Abellas. She kept talking, and during the phone conversation, she kept talking, and she had said that she kind of implicated herself, saying that that the lawyer had said that it was okay if they didn't get caught before they got out of the country, and she and her husband decided to get a one-way ticket to Vietnam, and they were caught in the airport. That was the body cam video from earlier tonight. I played that. Yeah, so she got arrested because she had, on that phone conversation, had said she was going to, she was going to flee the country or kill herself. You know, I hate using those words, but yeah, she was going to off herself, and said, even in one of the conversations, said something about her and her husband taking pills and taking care of business. So yeah. So those are the phone calls. They're wanting all that thrown out and not being able to be used in court that's coming up, because court's coming up in June. And so they're wanting no phone calls put in. They're wanting a change of venue, and they're wanting a lot of her estranged son, Rob. They want a lot of Rob's testimony to not be able to be included if it has nothing to do directly with the Dan Markel murder. They're saying, you know, anything that he feels about his mother, saying she's a major. Yes, ma'am, that's fine, Mama. She wanted to let the dog out. So, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what the judge decides. And I think then also bond hearing was also today. So, and I don't know the outcome. So hopefully we'll be able to find out. I'll do a quick search real quick and see if anybody's got anything on their info about the outcome.
Now, you heard the recording. To consent to this call, press 1. Or recording of this call, press 1. Correct?
Correct.
You hung up the phone after those calls were over.
Thought I did.
Just a moment, Your Honor. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Good morning.
So there in the room with you during this call was, you said your one of your attorneys, Susan Brotman, your husband, and then also Susan Brotman's husband.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And he was not your attorney?
He was not.
Your attorney?
No, he's not an attorney.
Okay. You were informed at the beginning of that call, this is the one on November 7th that recorded you while they were all in the room. You were informed that you were being recorded if you accepted that call?
Yes.
Okay. And that if you do not want to be on that recorded call, that you needed to hang up the call. Is that right?
Are you saying, does the recording say?
Right. If you do not want to accept that recorded call, you should hang up.
If you do not, yeah, no, I accepted the recorded call.
Okay. And you typically do hang up your calls, you said, after
I think I
your
did,
calls
yeah.
with Charlie Adelson when he was in custody. All right, but this particular call that day, evidently you did not properly hang up, right?
Evidently.
Okay. And have you ever forgotten to press the button on a call before?
I mean, it may have happened. I don't know.
Sure. Has your phone pocket dialed people before?
Has it what?
Pocket dialed people before? When you've been out of custody.
Pocket dialed?
Right.
I don't know what you mean.
Like if your phone is in your pocket or in your purse and it accidentally calls.
Wait, she doesn't know what a pocket dial is? Come on. Come on. Pocket dial. Everybody knows what a pocket dial. It's called a butt dial.
Someone you didn't mean it to.
I mean, that could have happened, sure.
Okay. And you also could have not pressed the button on your cell phone to end a call before, right?
It's possible.
Well, just being here, Bella.
It's not quite as
love you, girl.
Big of a deal as it used to be when you would actually have to like hang up the phone. Right. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Redirect examination.
Briefly, Your Honor. The consent that you gave for the call to be recorded, when did that end?
It ended when Charlie hung up, or when whatever stopped the call. I mean, I don't know how it stopped, but it stopped. When the call was over with Charlie, it was over.
Nothing further.
You messed up, Donna.
The typo in the the judge says you may step down, and the screen recording said you messed up. I always see those, and it cracks me up.
Nothing further.
See, nothing further. He says you may step down, and the typo says you messed up. You messed up that. I love typos. So anyway, so let's carry on.
Taking place in the jail.
We're going to go over this today. This one is with
Issues that have taken place in the jail. The first one I want to talk about is an incident that took place in the shower. And we're going to do this one briefly. I'm sorry, how much time did you say we had, Judge?
30 more minutes.
Including argument?
Yeah, I'm a caption freak, Abellis. I read those captions all the time because I sleep and I in bed, and so I read captions. That's why I have them on, because I always have captions on. But catching the misphrases is great. So anyways, okay, back to the sorry. I'm just gibbering.
Including argument.
Okay. All right. So the first incident that took place in the shower, could you just briefly describe to the judge what happened there?
Yes.
Okay, and fair warning, this may be a little triggering. Because I read a little bit. I haven't watched this, but I have read a little bit, and she did talk about some uncomfortable situations. So anyways.
So I always, there's 7 shower heads, but I always take the same one because it's off in a corner, so I have a little bit more privacy than you'd have at the other ones. And so I would always shower there, and I was under the shower, and I was washing my hair, and I was the only one in the shower. I always go in early morning because there's nobody there. Most of the girls sleep, so I take a shower and I have a little privacy. And so I was washing my hair, and all of a sudden I felt a hand go up my back, like from the top of my butt up my back, and I yelled, "Stop it!" And I turned, and this girl said, "You like it?" And I said, "Get out of here."
Ooh. All right, Katya, thank you for coming by. Yeah, this is a little traumatizing. I guess as a 75-year-old woman and been married to the same man for so many years, as this would really, this can be very traumatizing. I hate to see it, but.
And I started to scream, and she ran.
Okay. In the bathroom there, what was this? Which pod was this in?
It's in the annex.
In the annex. Okay. In the annex, are there guards positioned inside the area where you shower?
Thank you.
No.
Unless you're
Inside
right.
the area where you use the restroom?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's jail.
The next thing I want to talk about is what transpired in October of, thank you, October of 2024.
Night, Katya, thank you.
Where you had said previously you were attacked. What were you doing? Where were you at, first of all, at this place?
in October. So I was in the bathroom. It's 10:30 at night. I went in to brush my teeth. There are three sink stations in the bathroom. Each one has 4 sinks. And I was at the center station with my back to the door. And I'm a righty, so I was holding my toothbrush with my right hand. And I was balancing myself with my left hand on the sink.
I said hi to you,
just
girl.
brushing my teeth. That's all I was doing.
And what happened?
And someone came up behind me and pulled my left hand away from the sink and twisted my arm and like jerked it behind my back, like reaching up toward my neck.
Okay.
And
did it hurt?
Yeah, it hurt.
Okay. What happened?
It hurt. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she's in the same breath that she did that with my arm, she said,
"You're here, babe. You're here.
You're gonna buy me commissary." I said, "I'm gonna."
You could buy me commissary. Ooh, wait. That's a dirty screen pause. Guys, I'm sorry. I did her dirty. That's a screenshot. I did her dirty. I didn't mean to, but my pause game is on point tonight, guys. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
What?
I'm gonna go I'm gonna go get my other refill of my Starbucks. I'll be right back. I'll let this play a second.
And she said, "Unless you want those pretty white teeth knocked out of your mouth, you're gonna buy me commissary." So I said, okay. And then she named a package that she wanted. And she's out. She was gone. She was just that fast.
Okay. How bad would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad would you rate the pain at the time that she did that to you?
Oh my God, it was a 10.
Okay.
I didn't know my arm could reach that far back.
Okay. And what did you do after she did that to you?
So, kind of stood there for a minute, and then I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go back to my bunk. And I went back to my bunk and I got under the covers and I cried. I just stayed under my covers. I didn't come out.
Okay. During your entire time in the annex, did this particular inmate remain confined in that area with you?
She was in the annex the whole time.
Okay. And I know that you don't want to talk about who did this to you because why? Why don't you want to disclose who it was?
There's one thing I've learned since I'm there is the word is snitch. You don't snitch. You don't tell on anyone because you'll be.
You don't snitch. Y'all hear that? She's learning. Even at her old age, she can learn.
Sorry you did. And I've seen that. And so, I didn't even tell you for a while. I wasn't going to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want. She's a big woman, and I was afraid of her.
Okay. Approximately how tall would you say she is compared to you?
So we're 6 feet, over 200 pounds. She's a very large woman.
Okay. Were you afraid of her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was after that.
Okay. And you said that she demanded that you were going to start getting her weekly commissary. Did you do that?
Yes.
Okay. Let me.
No, Donna. She said, "Did you do that?" And Donna said, "Yes." So she fell for it. She actually, snitches get stitches, but I mean, she fell for it. She bought this woman's commissary.
Can I have just one moment, Judge?
Go ahead.
knits his stitches. Hi, buddy. It's okay.
Your Honor, in order to move this along a little more promptly, I've requested of the state, and they have no objection. At this time, I'm going to offer into evidence State's Exhibit number 3. I'm sorry, I said state by state. Defense Exhibit number 3, Defense Exhibit number 4, and Defense Exhibit number 5.
No objection, Ms. Dugan.
No.
May I
They are
approach?
admitted. Thank you.
Ms. Adelson, prior to ordering commissary for this woman who attacked you, were you getting commissary for yourself?
So I have an account, and you can buy up to $40 a week of food. And so I use that account to buy food, but not what she wanted. She wanted packages.
Okay, let's make sure the court understands. When you say buy food, is there normal commissary through the jail where you were getting your commissary?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what you were spending $40 a week on for yourself?
Aramark, yes.
Okay, and what kind of items are you buying for yourself off of that?
I try to get some protein. I buy tuna fish with mayonnaise and
substitute meals, if you will?
Yes.
Okay, no noodles of any kind?
No.
Okay, all right. Now, is there a separate way that you can order commissary on the outside for inmates?
Yeah, I can't do that. It would have to be ordered from somebody. You have to ask somebody outside to place the order.
Okay, and when you referred to packages, is that the method that the woman who attacked you said she wanted you to get for her?
That's what she asked me to get her. Yes.
Okay, and these packages cost about $40 each, is that correct?
40 and then $10 for packaging or shipping, so it's $50 a package.
Okay, and during the course of your time in the annex, while you were still in the annex, on just about every week, did she continue to find you in the bathroom and demand what packages that you would get ordered for her?
Yes, she must have been keeping an eye on me, but when I was in the bath, those are the only times she would approach me is in the bathroom, and she would tell me what she wanted for that week.
And did you make those orders through your husband?
I called my husband. I didn't tell him what happened. I just called him and said, honey, I want some extra food. Would you mind ordering some packages for me? And he said, sure, honey. And he did.
And he did that. And at the time that your normal canteen or commissary would be delivered, is that when the extra packages would be delivered as well?
Yes, all at the same time.
Okay, and in the course of things, you would go pick up your canteen and then her extra packages, is that right?
Yes.
And where did you keep her items when you got back to the annex?
So it was, you have to carry your bin up, and they put the package, they open up a plastic bag and they loosely put all the stuff in the bin. So it was all in a bin that I would and put under my bed.
Okay, and did you keep her eye care packages separated from your canteen?
Yes.
Okay, and how is it that she would receive her packages? How did she get the food?
So she would send, I used to say her minions. She used to pick different girls
Her minions.
to come over to me, and they would say, package up 4 soups and 3 bags of chips. And the first time I didn't know what she wanted me to do, and she said, it's for, and she'd mention her name. I said, well, how am I supposed to do that? She said, just put it in your shirt. I'll meet you in the bathroom. So I would load these things in the top of my shirt, and I would hold the bottom of my shirt like this so that nothing would fall out. And I'd go to the bathroom, and then somebody would follow me in there, and she would take it out, transfer it into her shirt, and walk away.
And that continued from the time that she first yanked your arm behind your back in October all the way until you were put into protective custody. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. When you got into protective custody, in fact, did you receive your last packages for her?
So the last package came. I was put into protective custody on a Monday, and Tuesday, the commissary came with those packages and brought them to me.
Okay. And do you have that extra food in your protective custody room now?
They're sitting there. I don't eat that stuff, so it's all sitting on top of my bunk.
It's made up of noodles and chips and things of that nature. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Girl, you're in prison. Eat that shit. Come on. Don't be all like, don't be like you're too. Look, I just realized Meat knocked off my earmuff thing. I'm gonna have to fix that later. I just realized it. Yeah, you're in prison. You know what? You eat what you get. Come on, honey. And I'm not gonna lie, Donna, chunky girl here. I'm not gonna lie. Donna has put on a little bit of weight since she's been locked up. A lot of carbs in her diet, I'm sure. But yeah, you're in prison. You eat what you got, man.
I want to talk briefly about your time in protective custody. How big is the room that you're in?
6 by 9.
Okay. And are you in this room by yourself?
Yes.
And is the door, with the exception of when they allow you to come out, is the door kept closed all of the time?
It's supposed to be kept closed.
Okay. All right. And you're given, I'm kind of leading here, Judge, to try and get us through this, but you're allowed to come out of that room 1 hour per day on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you get to come out for 20 minutes. Is
20
that right?
minutes.
Okay. And on the weekends, you don't get to come out?
Not at all.
Okay. Make sure you don't talk over me. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're talking over each other.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So Saturday and Sunday, you don't come out at all. During your hour, 3 days a week, and your 20 minutes, 2 days a week, is that when you are given the opportunity to take a shower?
Yes.
If you have time to walk, that's when you walk?
So on an hour day, I'll walk for 40 minutes or about, and then I'll take my shower at the ends of that, so I get my shower in.
Okay, and laundry also, that's what you use that
All
time
of that,
for?
yes.
Other than that, you're locked inside that room?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, it was your understanding when you were put into protective custody that there's not ever supposed to be anybody out around you, is that right?
That's what I was told.
Okay, but protective custody is actually attached to a pod, is it not?
Yes.
And what pod is that?
M-pod, like Mary.
Okay. At some point, did you learn that this individual who attacked you was also, at least for some period of time, in that same area?
I'm not sure where she was. She might have been.
Okay.
I didn't see her.
You didn't see her?
I
Okay.
heard that she was there, but I didn't see her.
Okay. Now, you have testified earlier that different guards have kind of different rules that they follow inside the jail. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Okay. During the time that you've been in protective custody, when you were told you should not be around anyone else in the pod or otherwise, have there been times when...
Bella's done hit the nose on the head. In pod. Bella's got the spice tonight.
Guards would have you around other inmates?
Yes.
Okay. Was there an occasion where another girl came and knocked on your door wanting you to give her food?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, okay. And what happened when you said you would give her food?
I said, I have all that extra food. I don't mind giving it to people.
Okay. And so how are you going to give it to her?
Well, that's what I said to her. How am I going to get this to you? And so she gave the guard a high sign, and the guard buzzed the door open, and it was her and a friend of hers, the two of them, and they'd only stepped in my foot, came in, and I gave them some soups.
Okay. Is that the only time that you've been around other people since you've been put in protective custody, or have there been other situations?
There have been other times, like yesterday, the officer buzzed my door, so I guess there was something she wanted me to do, so I opened my door, and I came out, and there were maybe, I don't know, half a dozen girls watching TV. I walked past them, and I asked the officer, "What did you want?" And she said, "Miss Adelson, I didn't mean to buzz you. Just go back to your room." I said, "Okay." So I turned around and went back.
Okay. We have to move along a little bit faster here. So one of the things that's been a big for you is lack of sleep. So we're going to just kind of go through this quickly for the court. But you testified previously that the night.
Boo-hoo. Is she I know. Is she complaining of lack of sleep? Hello, you're in jail. You have all the time in the world to sleep. Any time of day you're in custody, you're only going to be out for an hour. You have, oh, yeah, right. Cry me a river.
Time medications come between 11:30 p.m. and 1:30 or 2 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And part of the nighttime medications that you get, is there something in there to assist you to go to sleep?
Yes.
Okay. And then you get the medication. About how long after that is it before you can go to sleep?
From the time I get it, probably a half hour.
Okay. All right. And what time are you woken up for breakfast?
Between 3 and 3:30. Okay. Yes, last night was 3:10. just within that half-hour range is when it comes.
Okay, and once you're woken up for breakfast, are you capable of going back to sleep?
No.
Have you tried to go back to sleep?
Oh my God, yes, I try.
So that period of that time that you get from the time you fall asleep after your night meds until you're woken up for breakfast, that's the only sleep that you're getting while you're incarcerated?
That's it.
How has that affected you?
So.
Okay, wait. They want to know how it affected her? Oh, God. Oh, she's in jail. She's in jail for first-degree murder, conspiracy, solicitation of murder. And they're asking her how she's sleeping. Baby, how you sleeping? Boo-boo Donna. Boo-boo Donna. How you sleeping? No, I can't sleep. Well, boo-hoo. Take a nap. Take a nap.
Listen, I know older people don't need as much sleep as younger people, but I need more than 2 hours a night. I need more than a good night is 3. One night I had 3.5 hours. It's not enough sleep
to say older people
to stay focused. I mean, I feel like I'm foggy sometimes because I'm just sleepy. I'm tired, and I can't go to sleep. They've got people screaming and yelling. They bang on the doors. They shake the doors. It sounds like a drum in there. It's horrible. So I can't sleep with all that noise going on.
Okay. Do you have legal documents that we have provided to you or prior counsel has provided to you that you need to review to assist in the preparation of your defense?
Say that to me again.
Sure. Do you keep legal documents with you that you're supposed to be reviewing to assist to prepare for your defense?
Sure. I've got two bins full of them.
Okay. Are you having difficulty completing the tasks that we're asking you to do because of your lack of sleep?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, all righty then. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? What do you think? I know you're in freaking jail. You're not at the Ritz. Come on. All right, a couple little palate cleansers. Let's look at here. I just, me and my silly. I fell in love with this girl, and she kept looking over at her cat. Got her face on her cat. I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. I thought it was so cute. But yeah, hey, And one more. Let's see. Let's turn the volume up. Big screen. Let's share this tab instead. Let's back it up. This one was great too. Kid orders food from his dad's iPad.
How much has it done, mate? I don't know. Jesus Christ, Teo. How much was it? 38.
38.
Yeah, well, I'm taking them, mate. Yeah.
You already paid.
What's that?
You already paid. I'm old. We didn't have that back in the day when my little muffin, bless her heart, she'll watch this later. Yeah, 38 pounds, right? I don't know how much that is American money, but I don't know. It's enough, I'm sure. So, when my muffin, when she watches this later or whatever, and she'll see, yeah, I was so lucky we didn't have all that back in the day, because I know she would have charged all kinds of stuff up for me. Anyways, I hope everybody has a good rest of their night, and I'm gonna peace out here. And my little whiny thing over here, in case you hear him in the background, he's a mess. He just wants me to come sit on the couch so he can sit in my lap and watch TV. I know what he wants. He's a big baby. I'm coming. Goodness gracious. All right. So y'all have a great night, and I'll see you back tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Muffin brought to my attention I know the whining. I know, Bellis. I'm sorry. But yeah, Muffin brought to my attention about a missing 16-year-old with, she's pregnant. She's over 3 months pregnant, and she is missing with her 40-year-old boyfriend. And she is pregnant by him. And I believe it's out of Arkansas, maybe. I'm not sure. So anyways, that's tomorrow night. So we'll do that tomorrow night. And I look forward to seeing everybody then on the replay crew. Thank you for coming by. And all right, peace out. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for stopping by.